You know, they've been fighting Ukraine for 3.5 years. Ukraine's outnumbered 10-1. They've been kicking Russia's ass. So he put Putin on notice today that I'm going to give Ukraine, sell Ukraine the weapons they need to continue this fight, and it's coming into your backyard. He told Europeans, if you don't stop buying Russian oil and gas, you got nobody to blame but yourself. When he asked, what should you do if a Russian jet flies into your country? Shoot it down. He's tried to go out of his way to get Putin to the table. We don't want to humiliate Russia. We just want to end the war. And to our friends in Russia, here's what Trump did today. He told NATO, I'll sell you all the weapons you want. You can provide them to Ukraine. And as to Ukraine, you can use them any way you want. So to the Russian military, you're going to be up against the high-end American weapons that will be sold to NATO for the benefit of Ukraine. And this war is coming to your backyard here with no limitations like Biden. He's everything Biden wasn't. Donald Trump told our friends in Europe, you're our allies, but stop buying Russian oil and gas. How can I end a war when you're fueling the enemy? We're going to start going after countries that prop up Putin's war machine. We're going to sell weapons to NATO for the benefit of Ukraine. That's the only way this war is going to end is a 1-2 punch. Russia is a paper tiger. You know, they've been fighting Ukraine.
The book of Psalms, chapter 140, starting at verse 1, and it reads, a psalm of David. Deliver me, O Yahawah, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischief in their heart. Continually are they gathered together for war. They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Adder's poison is under their lips. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor due to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA QADASH. That is all praises, blessings, honors be to the Most High. His true name is Yahawah, whom the world ignorant call God. BAHASHAM means in the name. His only begotten Son, his name is YAHAWASHI. That's whom the world ignorantly and fraudulently called Jesus Christ. His name is YAHAWASHI. And double honors to the elders, the bishops, and the apostles of the great millstone who taught me this truth. I want to thank the Most High, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, for giving me the inspiration, the Holy Spirit, in the Hebrew tongue, Salakia, the RAWCHAA QADASH. And salutations, peace to all my fellow laborers out there doing this work in truth and in sincerity. And shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom to the Lord's elect. And just gonna, through the spirit and power of Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, just gonna bring out a few things here. You saw the video, and this is a response to Trump refers to Russia as a paper tiger. So if anybody doesn't know what a paper tiger is, a tiger is a vicious animal, but on paper, if it's in a magazine or an art or whatever form it is harmless. You know, so he refers them to as all pretty much all talk and no bite. He calls them a paper tiger. And these are just further escalations of war. And I'll put the Copyright Act again here. Copyright Act of 1976. Fair use is allowed for commentary, criticism, edification, news, reporting, scholarship. Otherwise might be infringing. So fair use again. So this is what I think. This is the speech here. Let me see. I think I'd loaded up. Let's see. Okay, let's go.
He's putting up one hell of a fight, and we'll see how that all turns out. But we're going to have a meeting, and we have about 30 meetings scheduled today. We have a lot of meetings scheduled today, going pretty late into the night. But this is an important one, and we have great respect for the fight that Ukraine is putting up. It's pretty amazing, actually. Well, the biggest progress is that the Russian economy is terrible.
So let me see. After pausing this, this is from Donald Trump. It says, after getting to know and fully understand the Ukraine/Russia military and economic situation, and after seeing the economic trouble it is causing Russia, I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back from its original form. This is a huge change of speech. It says, with time, patience, and financial support of Europe and in particular NATO and the EU. It says the original borders from where this war started. It is a very much an option. It's very much an option. Why not? Russia has not been fighting aimlessly for 3.5 years. A war that should have taken a real military power less than a week to win. Listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. Isn't that the most proudest statement? Didn't he not talk about this? He's going to stop this conflict and he's going to stop in a day or whatever nonsense he said. So now this says once again. Let me read it again. It says Russia has been fighting aimlessly for 3.5 years. A war that should have taken a real military power less than a week to win. This is not distinguishing Russia. In fact, it is a very much making it look like a paper tiger. That's the comment. It says, when the people living in Moscow, and of all, I don't know what this is here, provinces, I believe it is. Let's see.
Right
And
now,
of all
as you know.
the great cities, towns, and districts throughout Russia, find out that it's really going on with this war. See, this is the thing. They are speaking so lofty. This is a proxy war on behalf of the Americans. They have funded Ukraine, channeled so much money in Ukraine. We're talking billions and billions of dollars. And if that was the case, all these other European nations that were putting money in arms to Ukraine, why isn't Ukraine winning the war? Don't believe the hype, because ultimately it is the Russians, which is the Medes, that the modern day Medes, which is the Russians, that the Lord is going to use to take down Babylon, America. You see, because the Lord raised up the power of his adversaries, and that's what he's doing. Let me just bring a precept came to mind. Let me just go there really quickly. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 75. Just like the same thing what he did to Pharaoh. He raised him up just to show his power. This is Psalm 75, starting at verse 4. It says, I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and unto the wicked lift not up the horn. I'll read that again. It says, Psalm 75 and verse 4. I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and unto the wicked lift not up the horn. This is talking about Esau, Edom, referred to as the fools, and also Malachi 1 verse 4 tells you they are the wicked. Lift up your horn on high, and speak not with a stiff neck. The horn goes into what? Power. It says, and speak not with a stiff neck, stubborn, haughty, proud, arrogant. It says, for promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but Yahawah is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. See, because YAHAWASHI, it gave them the technology ultimately to destroy themselves. It says, the fact that this is almost impossible for them to get gasoline through the long lines that are being formed, and all the other things that are taking place under their war economy, where most of their money is being spent on fighting Ukraine, which has great spirit, and only getting better. Ukraine would be able to take back their country. Ukraine has all these old people being drafted into the war. They're trying to escape this country. They're fleeing to America, fleeing to all European nations to escape what? Escape this war. So how are they winning? See, it says their money is being spent for fighting Ukraine, which has great spirit and only getting better. Ukraine would have been able to take back their country and its original form, and who knows, maybe even further than that. Putin and Russia are in big economic trouble because they put all the sanctions on Russia, but Russia is doing well. Don't believe the hype. Yeah, they're hurting in some areas, but they're doing well because the other nations are starting to form stronger alliances with the Russians. These so-called European nations and European countries are still buying oil from Russia. So make that make sense. The friend of my enemy is my enemy. And that's going to play out perfectly in Revelation, the 17th chapter. It says, they shall hate the whore, talking about the NATO and EU countries, because they're realizing that America is not for them. Look what Trump just said yesterday in towards the the United Nations. He disrespected them all. He called them out. He called them out. Anyways, it says Ukraine would not be able to take back their country in its original form, and who knows, maybe even go further than that. Putin and Russia are in big economic trouble, and this is the time for Ukraine to act. In any event, I wish both countries well, and we will continue to supply weapons to NATO for NATO, Article 5, and to do what they want with them. So now they're giving them the green light to do whatever. Good luck to all. Does that sound like a president? Good luck to all. He's basically telling you that we're not going to get involved, but we will sell you guys the weapons. European nations sell you the weapons, and you can do as you please. Imagine selling somebody something and telling them they could only do this and only do that. But now he's giving them the green light to strike deep inside of Russia. Let's continue on here.
It's crashing. And that, frankly, Ukraine is doing a very good job of stopping this very large army. It's pretty amazing. This is a war that should have ended in 3 days, 4 days. Mm-hmm. People said it was going to be very quick, and you got to hand it to the Ukrainian soldiers. He's putting up one hell of a fight.
So one thing he did say earlier, and I want to show you, highlight that, because he says, Russia, let me go here really quickly first. Let me go to this article. This is the response back from the Russians. It was beautiful. This is from the RT News. It says, Russia is a bear, not a paper tiger. The Kremlin to Trump. They responded. I bet you this is Dmitry Medvedev. Oh, it says Dmitry Peskov. But anyway, nevertheless, it says the country is usually described as a bear rather than other animals. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov have joked. So I went to ChatGPT just for edification purposes to show you Russia is described as a bear. I said, why is Russia described as a bear? Just to show people the history. Russia is often described as a bear because of a mixed history, culture, and symbolism. Though it is not the official national emblem, like the America's official national bird emblem is the eagle. Under the Biden administration, they branded that as well, official. You see, and we'll get there to the spirit if the spirit allows. It says Western civilization, not Russian in origin. The idea as a bear originally came from Western Europe centuries ago. Russia cartoonists and writers used the bear to depict as a huge, lumbering, powerful, but sometimes clumsy nation. Political cartoons in the 18th and 19th century especially popularized it, showing Russia as a bear in conflicts with Britain, France, and other powers. Size and strength. Russia is the world's largest country by land area. You hearing this? Russia is the world's largest country by land area, stretching across 2 continents. They have 11 different time zones. They have lots and lots and lots of resources. And this is what it's about for the Americans. Even Lindsey Graham recently came out, talked about that. It's about the resources. Hank Seth was talking about Ukraine has to pay back because ultimately, like I said, Russia has, they boasted recently they have over 81 trillion dollar, 81 trillion in untapped resources, and the landmass. They wanna balkanize it and share amongst their allies. That's what they do. They conquer lands and divide the spoils. It says Russia is the world's largest country by land area, stretching across 2 continents. The bear, being large and strong, symbolizes its vastness and power, ferocity and unpredictability. And that's what they're gonna soon find out. Bears can appear slow and calm, but are capable of sudden aggression. Man, I'm thinking about a title for this lesson. It says, many saw this as a reflecting Russia's military might and unpredictability in politics. Because Russians are very patient, you see. Bears can appear slow and calm. I like that. It says, over time, Russian themselves adopt the bear as a kind of unofficial symbol, while their official symbol is the double-headed eagle. Once again, that's the Edomite symbol, the eagle. See, that's the eagle once again. The bear is now widely recognized as representing Russia in sports, tourism, and popular culture. Let me see. All right, let's see. Soviet and modern use. It says, during the Cold War, Western propaganda have depicted the USSR as a dangerous bear. Today, Russia sometimes embraces the image and seeing it not only as an insult, but as a sign of toughness and independence. All right, so that's beautiful. So let's go to the scriptures. Let me go back here. Sorry, the article. It says, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov have rejected United States President Donald Trump's description of Russia as a paper tiger, joking that the country is more commonly compared to a bear. So you have the explanation. It says on Tuesday, following his meeting with Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelensky, Trump said he believes that Kiev is in a position to fight and win all of the Ukraine back if the EU and NATO continue to support it. He compared Russia to a paper tiger, claiming that the country is in big economic trouble and that it is the time for Ukraine to act. It says, RBK on Wednesday, Peskov disagreed with the United States leader. Russia is not a tiger. Russia is more than associated with a bear, and there is no such thing as paper tigers. And Russia is a real bear. Woo, man. Let's see. Okay, let's go back here. Oh, wow. Right to the point. I'm going right to it. It says Trump is a businessman, he said, suggesting that he is trying to force the world to buy American oil and gas at a higher price. This is what he's telling the Europe. He's calling them out. That's a good point. He's calling out the European nations that are buying cheap Russia gas. So they're calling them out, talking about they're fueling the war. You know, Esau does a good job at projecting and gaslighting. The wickedness that he's doing, he's calling out other people. You know, put them on the defense. It says, Russian President Vladimir Putin highly values Trump's effort to mediate the Ukraine conflict while describing their relationship as warm. Oh, man. Anyways, I'm going to leave that part there. Let's go back here now. What was this? Yes, the YAHAWASHI. I put, I know for edification purposes, but I said it is a bear, a ferocious animal. It says, yes, that's correct. A bear is a ferocious animal because it is powerful, strong, and potentially dangerous when it feels threatened. See, I can drop it right there. A bear is a ferocious animal that is very powerful, strong, and potentially dangerous when it feels threatened. So let's go to the book of Ezekiel 7 and verse 25. It says, destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace. Because they have no idea what is coming, because they think that they're in control. It tells you in Proverbs 21 verse 1, the king's heart is in the hands of the Lord. That word heart goes into the mind. You know, the king's mind is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So it says, destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and they shall be none. Because starting from the elder apostles and their apostles before them, we're always talking about the war, the destruction, the Russia, the Medes taking out Babylon, and that's prophecy. Let's go to the book of, thought I had it here, but this is the book of Psalms 35 and verse 8. It says, let destruction come upon him at unawares. So they're not even going to know where it's coming from. And let his net that he have hid. Salaki, let me go back here. It says, let destruction come upon him at unawares. Because they're not going to know. Because America is described as what? The land of the unwalled villages. It says, let destruction come upon him at unawares. And let his net that he have hid catch himself. So he said, that's what the man says. Trump is a businessman. He's trying to get people to buy that expensive Russian oil. It says, because he also wants Ukraine and these other allies to take out Russia. and balkanize it. It says, let his net that he have hid catch himself into that very destruction. Let him fall, because we know that is what is coming for Babylon. Let's go here to, what's the precept I was looking at here? The book of, oh yes, the YAHAWASHI, Isaiah, because we just talked about it. And the ancient Medo-Persian Empire took down the ancient Babylonians, and just like today, the Lord says, my judgment is like a ring. That's very highly prophetic, because the Lord is stirring up Russia. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Against who? Against Babylon, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. This is what the Lord is doing. Their bows, talking about their missiles, also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. So pregnant women, it doesn't matter. Little children, it doesn't matter. Those missiles have no feelings. Those are part of the weapons of the Lord's indignation. It says, and Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It will be left as a monument. Destroy. Isaiah 34 goes into this deep. Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51, Revelation 18. All the prophets saw the same thing. You see, even in Nahum, it says, woe to the bloody city. It is full of lies and robbery. It says, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in there from generation. Salakia. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, which means it's be left for a monument. And only the wild animals, you see. Neither shall the Arabians, there can be no more, the Arab set up them little corner stores, variety stores, convenience stores. No more, none of that. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. That goes into similar to what it reads in Revelation 18th chapter. It says, but the wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. Talking about them white houses, them Super Bowl arenas, those stadiums. And the owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. See? And the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant places. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. See? I'll read that again. And the wild beasts of the and the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Thus say the Lord, thus say the Bible. So let's go to Obadiah, chapter 1. Obadiah is only one chapter, but Obadiah 1 and verse 1, start at verse 1. It says, the vision of Obadiah. Thus said the Lord power concerning Edom. And Edom is ruling this world today, starting with the head tribe Amalek, but they're all Edomites, they're all relatives. It says the vision of Obadiah, because when YAHAWASHI returns to this world, it tells you that Isaiah 63, Edom will be in rulership. The Lord is coming to take out Edom. It is the only nation that will be wiped off the face of the earth as the Edomites. And I'll show you, just for time's sake, just to show you that, right here, this is Obadiah 1 verse 18. It says, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, northern and southern kingdom, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall be kindled in them, and devour them, and they shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord have spoken it. And this has not happened yet. That has not happened yet, okay? So this is what the Lord is bringing. So come back to verse 1. The vision of Obadiah, thus said the Lord concerning Edom, we have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise, yea, and let us rise up against her in battle. And this was so symbolic, because when I was looking at Trump speaking to the people in the United Nations conference, whatever meeting they had yesterday, he was disrespecting them, speaking to them so condescending. Look at me, look at me. And I was watching their faces. Their faces was anger. Who does he think he is? You could tell they were not impressed. You see, it says, thus said the Lord power concerning Edom, we have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise, yea, and let us rise up against her in the battle. And this is coming. It says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. Contrary to what people believe, they don't know, the Edomites are what considered like 13% of the world's population. So they're a small amount of heathen. All the other nations, they like to call you minorities. That's because they have the power. They sit at the power seats. That's why Trump can get up to the podium and speak so proudly. You know, it says, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rocks. And didn't Stephen Miller just give that speech at Charlie Brown's funeral? He said, yeah, we're from the caves. He said it, and that was just true to spirit. It says that prideful, hateful speech, he says, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rocks, whose habitation is high, the eagle that saith in his heart, who shall bring me to the ground? That war should have been over in a day. It should have been done. Oh, they're losing badly. Who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, that's the national bird for the Edomites, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence I will bring thee down, saith the Lord, YAHAWASHI. So this is what is coming. So I'm going to leave it right there. I hope that you've been edified. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor due to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, QADASH. Shalom, shalom, shalom. The water Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, QADASH. Shalom.